Hello and welcome to Alive News. I am Tanti Azal. The headlines. Tussle gets tougher as Wike Ibori back Wasi. APC holds solidarity rally for Tinubu in the US. Arewa youth react to interim government plot. On the foreign scene, prosecutor stops case against members of parliament after suspension in Kenya. In sports, over 150 ex-soccer rugby players join in legal battle.
This is Alive TV.
Now the news in detail. Ahead of the June inauguration of the 10th National Assembly, plot by the country's main opposition, the People's Democratic Party, PDP, to mobilize its members and other minority parties in the House of Representatives for relevance suffered a major setback following the decision of two of its leaders to support the ruling party. Both the Rivers State Governor, Nyesom Wike, and a former governor of Delta State, James Ibori, have thrown their weight behind the incumbent Deputy Speaker, Ahmed Idris Wasi. The development came as a former governor of Ogun State, Chief Olusegun Oshoba, also described the Deputy Speaker as his beloved son, whose zone, the North Central, deserves the position of Speaker. The ruling All Progressives Congress, APC, held a solidarity rally for the President-elect Bola Tinubu in the United States of America. Alive News gathered that the rally was organized by the APC USA chapter and was held at Lafayette Park, Southwest Quadrant, Washington, D.C. Speaking at the venue, APC USA National Youth Leader Oyakhilome Bello said that the rally was to show the world that Tinubu was given a free mandate by Nigerians and that he is the winner of the election as declared by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. Bello added that the rally was to counter a protest organized by some members of the opposition parties to protest the outcome of the presidential election held on February 25th, 2023. He expressed sadness that some individuals that are dissatisfied with the outcome of the election result will go to the extent of calling for an interim national government. Bello therefore called on U.S. President Joe Biden to defend Nigeria's democracy from those calling for a temporary government or military takeover. Bello said Nigeria's nascent democracy has come a long way, adding that no force of blackmail from the opposition camp should be allowed to abort it. The APC chieftain also called on Nigerians to come together and work with the president-elect and the vice president-elect for the greater good of the country. He added that now that the elections are over, it is now time to come together with all hands on deck to enthrone a Nigeria that is the desire of all. A northern group, Arewa Youth Assembly, has outrightly rejected calls for an interim government after the expiration of the tenure of President Muhammadu Buhari. In a statement by its speaker, Mohammed Salihu Danlami, the group said calls for an interim government were not in the best interest of the country and could lead to further instability and political uncertainty. The northern group argued that the recently concluded elections were fair and credible, and that the calls for cancelling would be unconstitutional and could set a dangerous precedent for the country's democracy. Now on the foreign scene, Kenya's top prosecutor dropped charges against 4 lawmakers over anti-government protest, a day after opposition leader Raila Odinga suspended the demonstrations, their lawyer said. Odinga said he was ready to talk with President William Ruto as long as authorities halted arrests connected to the protest and addressed his concerns about the rising cost of living and reforms to the electoral system. Thousands took part in the 3 marches over the past 2 weeks against soaring prices and alleged fraud in last year's votes. All 3 turned violent and a 4th march had been planned. The 4 opposition lawmakers, who included the leaders of Odinga's faction in both houses of parliament, were arrested and charged with unlawful assembly in late March, then released on bail. Now in sports stories, boss Paul Wan says Derby County faced a major rebuild in the summer. Derby slipped out of the League One playoff spots after Saturday's 2-0 defeat, One has not given up on a top 6 finish, but says the squad put together in a month after Derby came out of demonstration last summer has flaws. When Derbyshire property developer David Cowes brought the club out of administration, they had just 5 first-team players on their books at the time because of restrictions put on them as a result of the financial turmoil. After former boss Wayne Rooney decided to leave the club after Cowes moved to become the Rams' new owner, it was Liam Rossegno who took temporary charge as manager and rebuilt the squad in the space of a month, while Derby were able to revamp their squad and brought in high-profile players. Restrictions on transfer dealings has limited them to free transfers and loan deals. Still in sport, a group of more than 150 former soccer, rugby league and rugby union players suffering from neurological impairment are due to join a class action lawsuit against their respective governing bodies, lawyers representing the players said on Tuesday. London sports law firm Ryland Garth said it would issue proceedings in court on behalf of 100 rugby league players, 40 rugby union players and 15 football players, taking the total number of claimants to 380. The player alleged that the sport's governing bodies failed to protect them from concussion and non-concussion injuries that cause various disorders, including early onset dementia, epilepsy, Parkinson's disease, and motor neuron disease. In recent months, World Rugby has also recommended the tackle heights be lowered in the amateur game and pointed to studies in France and South Africa that showed positive advancement in terms of player safety and overall game experience. Thanks for watching. Do have a great day ahead.